It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, November the 11th. Good Monday morning to yous. Let's get right into it, shall we? Here is your top 5 at 6. 5 stories that we think kind of matter, kind of get the day off on the right foot. Number 5 on your top 5 at 6. Hy-Vee is getting rid of self-checkout. That's
really.
The Hy-Vee stores are saying, you know what, we're done with the self-checkout. We're going to actually have human beings interacting with our customers again. Isn't that nice?
Well, I end up interacting with them anyway. You know, me at the self-checkout, I'm in a grumpy mood. I don't want to see anyone.
Yeah.
Scan first item. Please wait for assistance.
Always.
Always, every damn time.
I'm with you there 100%. I really hated self-checkout at first. Just the first time I ever saw it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I got to do your work now too. And now, you know, what else is, you know, I'm years ahead of the whole automatons. AI is going to take away everything we have. And then I got used to the fact that it's actually pretty great, especially when you have 3 items and you just walk in and boom. But yeah, but it just takes one bad scan to really bring the whole thing creeping to a halt. So now, if you're going to be a Hy-Vee customer, as so many of us are, go right back to the line and you know what? Go ahead and bring your checkbook, okay? Why not? As long as we're all going to be waiting forever to pay for groceries, let's just go back to writing checks.
I'm going to bring some barter items, you know, some grain I just harvested and see if we can work it out like they're at the old wet market. What do you got for bats? Although I was very entertained this summer when there's a mom standing there with 3 kids, one in her arms, trying to do self-checkout. She's having one of those days like moms have when they're out grocery shopping with the kids. And one of her kids managed to change the self-checkout to Spanish language. She was losing it. She wasn't having it. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, you know, it's a start. I like the fact, remember that story last year in the Netherlands? There's a whole grocery chain that has one designated lane for older people who are moving more slowly, but who want to chat with the clerk. And it's encouraged to just have a conversation. It's like, it's kind of a sweet concept. It would never fly in America, but hey, if you're in the Netherlands and you want to chat somebody up, you know, and take a time, tell a story maybe about how you got sick on the airline food, go ahead. There's a store for you.
They deliver groceries now.
What's that?
They deliver groceries now.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. We could make it all that much easier. Number 4 in your top 5 at 6. Life on Mars is not just a David Bowie song anymore. Apparently, scientists have discovered that lichens, those crusty little organisms that cling to rocks and trees, apparently they might just be able to survive on Mars. Tony, you got to be thrilled about this.
Well, I've known about life on Mars and archaeological finds for many, many years. It's not news to me. Although when you say lichens, I think of a snack chip.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to sit with a beverage and have a handful of lichens.
Is anyone else thinking of werewolves? No.
Why am now?
Yeah.
Oh, lycanthropy, yes. Werewolves.
Lichens, that makes me think of that chip that came out that was like, it had no fat, but it made everyone have diarrhea. What were those?
Olestra was the ingredient. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So from a lichen living on Mars to now Olestra-flavored diarrhea. Okay, great. That's how we like to roll around here. That's where my brain goes. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. The Grammy nominations came out on Friday, and a couple of newcomers, the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, both nominated for Grammy Awards in rock music in 2024. It's astounding to me. Best rock performance, you've got St. Vincent, Pearl Jam, Green Day, the Black Keys, and the Beatles, a band who has not played all together in a room since 1969. The song Now and Then, which was the song they released last year, an old John Lennon demo that the other guys all added parts to and fixed up, or really just Paul and Ringo. Best rock performance, the Beatles. I mean, if I'm a Grammy voter, I look at that and go, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, but how did it go again? Does anyone remember that song? I heard the song the first time. I heard John Lennon's voice. I teary-eyed, literally. We listened to it here on the show the day it was released. Right. I can't sing it to you right now.
Yeah, same.
Don't know. Best rock song. Bunch of people we don't play. Black Keys say Vincent Pearl Jam. Best rock album. There's the Rolling Stones with Hackney Diamonds. That kind of makes sense to me. Because that's as good as the Stones are ever going to be again. But then again, Jack White's new album absolutely rips.
Yeah.
And it's modern. It's of the time. It doesn't sound like something from 40 or 30 years ago. It just absolutely goes all in. And I think that's the one. Now, that said, I haven't heard the Green Day album. I haven't heard the Pearl Jam album. I also haven't heard the Black Crowes album, Happiness Bastards, which was nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Album. I've
heard bits and pieces of all of those albums. Fine. I liked the Green Day album. I very much liked the Pearl Jam album. Thought it was their best album, and maybe since the mid-'90s, late 90s. So, good stuff there. But, I don't know. It's the Grammys. You know what you do? You go back and you watch the performances. That's what I like to watch, the performances.
Yep. And, by the way, when those awards are handed out, you won't see them because none of those are on the telecast.
All those are ones that
they don't even show the Rock Awards on TV anymore.
Well, no wonder. All right. Phooey.
Number 2 on your top 5 at 6. If you predicted the Minnesota Vikings would beat the Jacksonville Jaguars without scoring a touchdown, then hey, well done. That was ugly. I mean, a win is a win, but some are far less satisfying than others. Goodness gracious! Remember last week after Will Reichard, the rookie sensational kicker, was out with an injury, they brought in John Parker Romo, and we said on the show like, "Oh, this is dicey, man. Special teams, you bring in a new kicker. What if it all goes sideways? Or what if the new kid goes 4 for 4 and accounts for all of the Vikings' points in his debut? Who on earth saw any of that coming? Not me, not you. Maybe John Parker Romo's parents, but nobody else.
Yeah, we're expecting wanting the Vikings to put the pedal to the metal and start showing off this high-powered offense they've been flirting with most of the season. We certainly didn't get that. Not in the red zone. Good for 400 yards, but did not get her done in the red zone. And Romo gets her done with 4 field goals. Vikings coach O'Connell post-game.
Those are the types of games that good teams find a way to win regardless of what it looks like all day, and I'm proud of that. But absolutely a lot of things we need to correct and fix.
Oh no, you want that fart effect for this sound effect. Cam Bynum wraps it up there. He's talking about the defense with the big interception at the end of the game, and then goes a little ray gun for us in the end zone.
Extra man comes from Minnesota. Jones launches end zone. Closest man is a Viking. It is picked up by
Bynum. Actual audio of Ray Gun's performance here, by the way.
Incredible.
Actual audio. Yeah, not bad.
I realize now the best way to take in breaking is without the visual. Yeah. Just listen. That's I had a basketball coach who used to say, "Boys, if I don't hear them sneakers squeaking, we're running laps." Okay. And so then you're just like not even caring about what's going on. You're just making sure you're sliding your feet, proper defensive position while someone's scoring 56 points on you in the first half. Oh, the memories of being on one of the worst high school basketball teams ever. So the Vikings move on. NFC North foe, the Detroit Lions. I went to bed after what's his face, Jared Goff's 9th interception of the game last night, and then apparently they somehow came back and won. So I don't even know what to make of this, Ryder. I mean, seriously, I'll give you a minute here. Go for it.
No, I got nothing. I went to bed after the 4th interception.
Okay.
Like right after halftime, I was like, "This is it. They don't want me watching this game."
Yeah.
And then I woke up to a 26-23 win over Houston, who in the first half looked amazing last night. It was all about Bates, though.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Ryder now realizes she can't watch the second half of another Lions game all season. It's tough. It's tough to have that kind of power over your favorite team,
so much
isn't it?
pressure. It is.
We've all been there. Hey, good morning to our friends in Northeast Minneapolis. Getting a little love from the KQ Morning Show right now.
I mean, that's Minneapolis strong right there. That's the best reason to enter the city limits, Northeast. Only if they had like a place to get a beer or a restaurant or something. Anything to do up there. It's just dead all the time.
I know. I'm still getting to know the area. A couple years in, and I think that all the time. If only there was a place to walk in, a nice low key, just a tavern, an old style bar, like a place where there's no big fuss. Just go in and sit down and grab a pull tab or two and get a draft beer. If I could just find find one in Northeast would be good.
Can't find a church anywhere either.
No,
All
it's
right.
so bizarre.
Looking.
I'll
Such
tell
a
you
weird
what.
thing.
Those church feeds, there was a time that I just was bouncing my really, really broke days, just bouncing from church feed to church feed in Northeast Minneapolis.
Yeah.
It was like a donation if you have anything. Otherwise, feast, man.
I tell you one thing I love about moving to Minnesota. It's not like when I moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 2004, where the first thing people say to you is, "Have you found a church yet?" and my original answer was, no, I wasn't looking. And then I turned it into, how could I not? There's one on every damn corner.
Yeah.
And then people finally stopped asking. It's a whole different world down there, ladies and gentlemen. Number one on your top 5 at 6 shouldn't even need to be mentioned. I hope we all are aware of the fact that 11/11 is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Veterans, thank you. My God. In 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th to be the first Armistice Day. In 1954, it was changed to Veterans Day. Anybody who served, including you, Brian Zepp, thank you.
Well, thanks. We're accepting kisses on the lips today. Just
There you go.
unsolicited,
All right,
spontaneous, big, wet, greasy kisses on the lips. Get yourself a free cup of coffee and a free donut today. All sorts of places out there are offering it up for the vets.
Oh, my God, so many. Crooked Pint Ale House.
That's better than a
Veterans
cup of
and
coffee.
active duty service members get a free meal today.
Hey, now.
Yeah, Devani's. Our dear friends at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. Veterans and active duty service members get a free solo one-item pizza and a soda.
Ooh.
Go.
Yeah.
Get to
High five.
Devani's. You don't ever need a reason for Devani's, but, because it's just awesome. But, hey, if you're a veteran, go grab yourself a pizza and a pop. That's good stuff right there. All right, there's your top 5 at 6. I was just Googling, are there scorpions in Germany? Are there actually scorpions in Germany? The answer so far doesn't seem to be. That Germany does not host a permanent population of scorpions. I mean, other than, the rock band itself. I was just curious.
Yeah.
These are the things that occur to me when I'm rocking like this hurricane in the morning. Wait a minute, they named themselves after something that doesn't even exist in Germany. Oh, what are you going to do? Hey, it's Monday. It's November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. And right now, as it is Monday, we got to quickly look over some Monday morning leftovers, some stories we didn't get to last week. We would like you to let us know what you want to hear about. You know how this works. We're going to ask you to text to the KQ Talk and Text line 651-989-ROCK a key word that will then determine and let us know what stories you want to hear about. Well, let's get to it. Vampire bats hit the treadmill. That's right. That's
Too
what I
many
said.
saturated fats in our bloodstream.
Text the
Sorry,
word
bats.
Bats, B-A-T-S. How about this? A police officer filled the steam iron at the precinct with urine. Ooh. Hold on a minute. If you want to hear that story, text the word P, P-E-E. Louis Vuitton has a new doghouse for sale. You're not going to believe the price tag. If you want to hear that story, the word is dog. D-O-G. A viral Chinese street food looks like a lump of black hair. Oh, Lord help us all. The
Like a
word...
whole textbook of black hair. This thing is huge.
It's ginormous. Text hair if you want to hear that. And yes, Zepp will cough up a furball on demand at any time. Another one that we want to talk about, the LA Dodgers won the World Series and they were given VIP status for life to a strip club near the stadium. That story is, if you want to hear that, the word is baseball.
Hello.
Text in baseball. Advice from an 85-year-old, general good living advice. If you want to hear that, text in the word old. That's right, old. And then finally, if you want to hear about some popular write-in candidates on Election Day, text in the word vote. There are your Monday morning leftovers. Vote, old, baseball, hair, dog, pee, bats. You heard me. Get to it. 651-989-ROCK. Let us know what you want to know all about. Quick note, the actor from The Sopranos who played Anthony Jr. is 39 years old now. That's how old James Gandolfini was when they shot season 1 of The Sopranos.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, I saw that. It was like a meme that came across the Instagram feed, and I stared at it, and I was like, wait a minute. What? AJ, that complete miscreant knucklehead, That guy is as old as Gandolfini was for season 1 of The Sopranos.
He's daddy's age now.
It's just too much.
That punk.
Why do I torture myself with these things? But boy, The Sopranos is worth a second look if you haven't seen it in a while. Let's look back. On this day in 1981, November 11th, 1981, the Minnesota North Stars, an NHL hockey team once upon a time, scored 8 goals in the second period against the Winnipeg Jets. They won the game 15-2. Do you enjoy a hockey game when your team scores 15 goals versus only 2? Do you stay to the end?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
You hang in there just to see.
Gotta do it.
I guess at some point it does become, how ridiculous can this get? Wow. By the way, they had 51 shots and scored 15 goals. But it's not like Winnipeg was just laying back. Winnipeg themselves had 42 shots on goal.
What?
They just didn't quite get the biscuit in the basket.
3 on 3 or what? What's going on there? Yeah, wow.
Pretty crazy. On this day in 1990, Derek Thomas of the Kansas City Chiefs set an NFL record when he had 7 sacks in a game against Seattle. How many sacks does a man have to get before the opposing team goes, hey, can we just do something about this guy? Can we just put 2 people on him every snap regardless?
My favorite verse of Blowing in the Wind. How many sacks
Yeah, that's exactly
must
right.
one man get?
How on earth does anyone get past 5? I mean, I just don't understand that. It's like when Kobe Bryant scored 81 points. I was like, is no one going to break his leg? What are we doing here, guys?
Feel free to throw a back or a tight end over there. A little help on that side.
Something. And not to say, I mean, Derek Thomas was obviously a phenomenal player, but still, come on. By the way, Googled him today, completely forgot about the fact he was killed in a car crash in 2000. It was terrible. And then all of a sudden it all came back to me like, wait, what? Oh my God. Derek Thomas, man. What an awesome, awesome career he had.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning, November the 11th. Happy Veterans Day, one and all. As it is Monday morning, we do have some business to take care of, and that's we got to get through some of the Monday morning leftovers. We asked our listeners, as we do every Monday, to text in keywords to signify the stories they would like us to go back over, stuff we missed last week. We've got your top 3 stories to share now, thanks to your votes. 23% wanted to hear some advice. Now, not just any advice. There's an Instagram account. It's called Glorious Broads, and they interview older women just to get their take on all sorts of things. Glorious Broads. Kind of like that. Here is an 85-year-old woman's advice on what young people should do. She says it was a positive change for her. Check it out.
I'm 85. I don't feel any different from when I was 16. I still think about boys and I still hate my hair. You know, that has not changed. You know what the big difference is?
Tell us.
I can say no. And younger people are so anxious to please. I was invited to go camping. Why would I go camping? And I did it because I was ashamed to say, that's not really me. And you know what happened? And I get up in the middle of the night. I didn't know where the latrine was. I went out in the forest and I wiped myself with a leaf and it was poison ivy.
Oh, no.
Thank you very much, nature. That's because I couldn't say no.
No. To the latrine, using a military reference here on Vets Day.
Yeah, I like that.
She still sounds young, too.
She does.
Sounds very feisty.
Couldn't say no, went camping, wiped herself with some poison oak.
Yeah, you can have the Golden Girls. I'll go with the Glorious Broads.
You could have said, no kidding, you could have said yes to camping and just brought along a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah. Have that.
But you know, for anyone who's about to ask the question, no, if I'm 85, I'm still thinking about the poison oak down in the front office as well. There's no what would be worse?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those defining moments, clearly.
I don't believe that.
I watched a man I used to work with. He borrowed 80 German Deutschmarks for me once because of an explosion of diarrhea in the woods, and there were no leaves on the ground. And he's like, "No, you got any cash?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" We're in Germany, of course. I'm like, it's the most expensive crap I've ever not taken in my life. 80. It's like $100 right out of my wallet.
That's why when you're out deer hunting, occasionally you'll find a stray pair of undies just laying out there all soiled.
Oh, boy.
You know, you got to give up a pair of undies and commando back to the camp, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the key is not to, if you see what looks like it may be a pair of undies, just assume it is and keep moving, soldier.
Yeah, I always shoot it once just to be sure.
Well, yeah, you've got to do that. Number 2 on our Monday morning leftovers, 26% wanted the popular write-in candidate story on Election Day. Plenty of people still write in candidates when you're not happy with your choice for congressperson or senator or president. In fact, people still will write in. And in Florida, a lot of Florida ballots, as is the case every year. A lot of Disney characters getting in the write-in votes. Mickey, Minnie, Donald Duck, all there on the list. But this year, apparently, a lot of Star Wars characters as well. Han Solo, Baby Yoda, even Darth Vader himself got a write-in vote.
Baby Yoda has a name, Grogu. Hello.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
God.
I started watching the Baby Yoda show, and then after a while I realized, does Baby Yoda ever do anything other than look cute?
No, not really.
Does anything ever happen?
No, not really. I mean, it kind of flirts around. There's a new season coming out. You'll be sure to want to catch.
And do we know that that's actually Pedro Pascal under that mask? Does he ever take it off?
Most of the time it is not. He does take it off occasionally, but he did disclose that a lot of times it's just a paid actor, some macho actor walking around. He just supplies the voice.
Got it.
What a good gig. Not even
It's a tremendous gig. Also receiving votes this year across America, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Ronald Reagan. And in Wake County, North Carolina, Jesus, over 70 write-in votes. Jesus.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what the population demographic is there. It might have just been Jesus. I'm not sure. Got to do a little bit more research. But the best ever is Wake County, North Carolina. Also, someone wrote in giant meteor.
Okay.
Let's just end this quicker. Let's just get it all. Let's just call it a day. I give. And then finally, the number one story that you wanted to hear with 37% of the texters voting it in. Scotland Yard, right? The British police unit. They've got a problem in one of London's biggest police stations. It's called the Charing Cross Police Station in Central London, excuse me. There's a lounge and there's an area where people go pick up their uniforms. When you're on duty, you have your uniforms. They're delivered in, and then there's an ironing station to iron your uniforms so you look crisp. Somebody filled one of the irons with urine. And then somebody plugged it in and heated it up and steamed it and then just started ironing all the uniforms in steamy urine.
That's not funny. I was laughing at something else, a meme. I was looking at a meme online. Sorry.
They're now checking the weekend rotations. They're looking at the punch-in and punch-out cards to try to figure out who could have done this, because apparently in one of England's biggest police stations, they don't have cameras.
No cameras?
If you go to England, there are CCTV cameras everywhere. You cannot elude detection unless you're in one of the biggest police precincts in the city and you are in the area where they iron your clothes. I guess, I mean, that is really something. Apparently, when you tamper with a steam iron like that, it really does put out just a horrific smell. Not surprisingly, heated urine in steam fashion apparently reeks like a damn barnyard.
Anyone who's ever
urine.
Oh yeah, anyone who's ever used it to cook up some meth knows that.
Sure.
So the best place to commit a crime in England is in the police station. Yeah, they have a website, by the way. I forget what it is. You can probably find it on YouTube or with a quick search on the internet. You can follow drunks home from pubs in England all the way to their house. One goes an entire mile. The guy stumbles and falls down like 39 times.
Yeah.
But you can follow him on those closed circuit cameras all the way from the pub to his house, from one camera to another.
It's fantastic. It's pretty hard to imagine. This is not unlike the fire station, the modern fire station in Germany that burned down a couple weeks ago. We had that story. It's in a smaller town, but it was a year old, and it was the most state-of-the-art fire station in all of Germany. But the one thing they didn't have was smoke detectors. Oops. Oops. And they were
illegal?
And the firemen were all out tending to a fire, and then something overheated, and then their modern new fire station. So, smoke detectors in fire stations makes a lot of sense. CCTV cameras inside police precincts also apparently makes a lot of sense. But I just need to say, I mean, I have been near irons my whole life. I've seen people use them. I've used them. It's a part of life. Never once in a million years did I ever think, I wonder if you could put something other than water in there. I've never had that thought. Kudos to the guy who pissed all over a whole bunch of, from a great distance. Yes, I urinated on a ton of police uniforms. And it's a cop himself. Clearly, this is great. I can't wait to hear what his excuse is. Well, it was just Thursday, wasn't it? I was bored. I was just bored, wasn't I? Especially want to shout out to everybody in St. Anthony. Hey, we didn't forget about you, St. Anthony. St. Tony, I like to call you.
Sounds right.
Yeah, Tony. So, Tony, who is St. Anthony? What's he the patron saint of? Patron saint
of snack crackers.
Snack crackers.
Yeah.
Great.
And pranks.
Man, come on. that all makes perfect sense. The patron saint of streaking, St. Anthony. St. Anthony, there's St. Francis of Assisi, and then there's St. Anthony of St. Paul.
Who are you calling a sissy?
Get out of that toga and look out.
Man, come on. Anyway, if you're in St. Anthony, we are just wanted to give you a quick little special shout out. Say, what's happening? The Minnesota Wild are playing some pretty good daggone hockey these days, and they will host the Winnipeg Jets November the 25th at the XL Energy Center. We would love to give away a couple tickets to a listener. So right now we need 2 callers, numbers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. If you want to play for tickets to see the Winnipeg Jets, who are also playing some ridiculous hockey right now.
Yeah.
The team with the best start in NHL history, actually, right now. Whatever. Wow. That's November 25th. You can call in right now. And like I said, callers 9 and 2, we're going to put you into the game. And it's Monday, so you know what that is. Yeah, by the way, 14-1. That's the Jets record right now.
Yeah, it's not bad. Wait till they run into the Wild. There'll be some gloves on the ice. I know they've got themselves a fantastic team, but the Wild holding steady. Losing to the Blackhawks? Are you freaking kidding me in overtime? But that's all right. They're pretty good out on the West Coast, I guess.
I mean, the Wild, 15 games in, 23 points, a 10-2-3 record. You're like, man, that's fantastic. Good job, guys. And you're 5 points behind the Jets. Unbelievable. just crazy. But it's going to be hey, if nothing else, we got a banger of a game coming here on the 25th. While we're getting a couple callers locked and loaded, how about a little morning love for Chan Hassan?
Oh, yeah. I just got Mama some tickets. We're going to be taking her to see one of her very favorite movies, a holiday tradition for many families, I'm sure, White Christmas, Irving Berlin's White Christmas, at the dinner theater down there at the end of the month. Matinee, of course.
Very nice.
Can't keep her up too late, but yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've been to Chanhassen, as far as I know, once.
Yeah.
That was it. I went out, but the truth is, I went there to see Prince at Paisley Park many years ago, and I thought I was in North Dakota by the time we got there. Because it
does feel
it's
like
out
you're
there a
driving
little ways.
forever.
Well, I'm just saying, late at night, it's a Saturday night. I got into a car at like 11 p.m., drive out there for the 1 a.m. show, already probably half in the bag, and just like, where the hell are we? I'm in Minneapolis, and now where am I? And coldest experience of my life, greatest concert of my life. So when you say the word Chanhassen, I just get all warm inside from how cold I was that night. That was great. It was a phenomenal night. So we are, as I said, we're sitting on a couple of sweet tickets to see the Jets and the Wild. So let's get to it. Tony, we've got a couple people ready to play. And, well, I mean, why delay one more second? Just lay it on me, brother.
Right. It's Monday, so you know what that means. You know, don't you, pal? Yeah, Monday means it's time again to beat that toaster. And here's what we're going to do. There's a toaster right here in the studio. It's all shiny and pretty. We pop a slice of bread in there, then we give you a category that requires some thought, and you list a name spontaneously, whatever pops into your head, as many as possible, but you only have 15 seconds to do so before the toast pops. Beat the toaster.
I love it. Let's get on with it. Prepare to be stressed. Who is contestant number 1, Tony?
Trisha from the heart of Maplewood.
Trisha, good morning.
Good morning.
Trisha, who's your favorite band?
Oh, Heart.
All right. Give me your favorite team, any sport.
Oh, Minnesota Wild.
Oh, well, we're good to go.
You got 2 Opes there, I think.
Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, Trisha, beat the toaster. Are you ready to rock round 1?
I hope so.
We do, too. Good luck.
All right, Trish. Name some movies featuring soldiers in war, movies that revolved around or dealt with the military. Go to it.
Oh, boy. Saving Private Ryan. Oh, my gosh. It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
All right. Two solid
Yeah,
ones.
George Bailey's.
Oh, yeah,
Sure,
that's right.
George
He
Bailey.
was, yeah. You're right. You're right. There are so few movies out there based on the military.
Don't question
that was a
Trisha again.
Category. No, she gave us 2 Opes already. I love her. Oh,
That's hard on the spot.
Yes.
it
It is
is.
hard on the spot. It is hard on the spot. If we had asked for Christmas movies, she would have said Platoon.
Oh, I should have said Hamburger Hill.
Yeah.
Another good
so
one.
many. Trisha, it is hard, but that's why we play Beat the Toaster on a Monday morning. It's good to shake the cobwebs off. Round 2 is going to be better, I'm sure of it. But hang on for a quick second because we got to go to contestant number 2 right now. Tony, who we got?
Step up Patrick from Blaine.
Patrick, good morning.
Good morning.
Give me your favorite band, Patrick.
Queen.
All right, favorite team, any sport.
Got to be the Minnesota Wild.
Right on. Well, they're off to a heck of a start. Got the Jets coming in November 25th. If you can win, beat the toaster, you got tickets, brother. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Patrick, staying with the theme here on Veterans Day. Go ahead and name some military ranks and titles. Go.
Colonel, Sergeant, General, Major, Private, Private First Class, Private Second Class, Major General.
There you go.
Yeah,
A bunch
all right.
in there.
Toast popped.
I counted 8.
I got 8 too.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well done, Patrick. What you said ranks or titles. What would a title have been?
World's greatest
Numbnuts.
dad.
Okay. Check it out, yeah.
Here's one right here.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
There you go, numbnuts.
That's a good one. All right, Patrick, very well played, sir. 8 is a strong round at any time. Let's go back now to Trisha for round 2. Okay, Trisha, you got your work cut out for you, but bigger upsets have happened. More come from behind victories than you're facing. We believe in you, Trisha. Good luck.
Okay.
Use your imagination here, Trish. Maybe you participated in the deer hunting opener. Maybe you didn't. Either way, you're wandering through the woods on the day of the opener. What are some things that you're seeing? Go.
Trees and shrubs and rabbits, squirrels, chipmunks, other people, other hunters, old trucks, abandoned cars, a deer stand, a house,
Yeah.
a cabin.
Hopefully,
one.
deer.
Good
one. Good
Yeah.
It's like a cyclone all of a sudden. I got 9. Is that add
Yeah,
up to you?
I got 9 as well.
Right on. Trisha,
on.
very well done. A strong round 2 that gives you a total of 11, which, like I said, don't lose hope. Crazier things have happened around here than this. So we're going to go back to Patrick. Patrick, 3 to tie, 4 for the win for your round 2. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Patrick, besides deer and the usuals, if there was a hunting opener for animals you don't like or just would be cool to hunt, what would you go after? Go.
Gorillas, kangaroos, elephants, tigers, lions, cheetahs, rhinoceros, hippopotamus.
And toast.
Well, bring a tank if you're going after all those guys. Let me tell you. Starting with gorillas. Look out. Patrick, well, we got 8 and 8. That's a total of 16. Very well played, sir.
Thank you.
You are going to, my friend, enjoy a hell of a hockey game November 25th. The Wild and the Jets in the KQ suite. Going to be great. Trisha, thank you so much for playing. Came up a little short today, but we enjoyed having you. Cheers.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, there goes Trisha.
There you have it. Yeah, right on. Man, he's going after some big game.
Yeah.
All the favorites.
Not screwing around, man.
He went right, correct me if I'm wrong, my man went right from gorilla to kangaroo.
Yeah, gorillas, kangaroos.
Yeah, right, exotic. Yeah.
Hunting a kangaroo. Come on, just go box that bastard.
Well, hand-to-hand hunting, yeah.
I'll go down the kangaroo rabbit hole on videos online. They're just such strange-looking animals.
Yeah, they are.
And when you occasionally do see a guy square off against one, and the kangaroo's like, I'm gonna jab this dude to death. Watch this. It's always just the most fascinating thing imaginable right there. That's a good game right there. I enjoy me some Beat the Toaster, and man, am I getting excited. I'm not kidding. This whole Wild thing, before the season started, nobody was feeling too terribly bullish about the Minnesota Wild right now. But you can't, it's not a fluke at this point. If you're a month in, you're 10-3 or whatever their record is. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and I think Kaprizov is leading in a couple of scoring categories too, man. The guy's just, as you might expect, but just tearing it up. How much money are they going to have to give him? A bunch.
Right. A whole big bag. Big bag of money. It is Veterans Day, and we're very happy to say happy Veterans Day to one and all who have served. And we have been getting some pretty good texts and Facebook posts. Funniest thing that ever happened to you while you were serving our country. We'll get back into those. Share them with us if you want. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line, or hit us up on the Facebook page, KQRS. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's Classic Rock 92 KQRS.
It is November the 11th. That is Veterans Day, of course. Happy Veterans Day. We have been reading and sharing some posts, both on the Facebook page, KQRS Facebook, as well as the talk and text line. We're hearing from a lot of veterans with the funniest stories, things they remember about those wonderful years of service. I do want to share a text from Mark. Not a funny story, but it's worth sharing. Remembering my dad today, Aaron Ron Nelson, served in the Navy Seabees during World War II and was stationed in the South Pacific. He had to go through the regular Navy boot camp and also go to the Marine boot camp because he was in the Seabees. Our dad lived to be almost 95 years old, passed away a couple years ago. We sure miss him and all of his stories. Mark from Brooklyn Center. Cheers to your pops, Mark. Anybody that was in the South Pacific for 5 minutes back in the day, much less for as long as I'm sure he served, has seen it all. My goodness. That was, man, cheers to your pops. Appreciate his service for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought every Veterans Day, Memorial Day, although my grandpa Sam died nice and comfortably at old age, well into his 80s, not in combat. I think of Grandpa Sam because, we talk about that camaraderie of being in the service. As soon as you get there, day one, you bond with your brothers, now brothers and sisters. A lot of us serve together. But that bond that you talk about, and I remember when I came back from basic training and AIT on leave, Grandpa Sam finally opened up and started telling me a lot more stories about when he served with the Third Army, over in Europe during World War II, and shared that trust and that camaraderie. And I think about him all the time. I think about, he only told really funny stories, like a lot of veterans of combat, especially that World War II generation. They didn't talk about the combat much, and he still didn't, but he always had some funny stories. One of my favorites was Little Dutchie, they called him. He was 5'1". Couldn't find a uniform that fit him, so his helmet was too big and his sleeves were too long and his pants were rolled up. And they had to run across this little area, this little open field while they were being shelled by mortars from the Germans. And Little Dutchie starts going. He's about as tall as his rifle, he said. So his rifle's flopping around, his helmet's flopping around. He's running across the field, and a shell lands right in front of him, but it doesn't go off. And he stopped, saluted the shell, jumped over it, and jumped back into his foxhole. So, I mean, just goofy little stories. Right? I know. And then you're just picturing the image, of stuff like that. But to all our vets, everyone that stood, and most men and women that serve in the military don't serve in combat. Either they were in at a time when we weren't in combat, or the support that it takes for one troop to go into combat. It probably takes 5 or 10 troops supporting that troop, getting everything together, as it were, so that we can engage in combat. So a lot of vets out there, a lot of vets in Minnesota. I'm surprised at the number of Navy vets. Maybe I shouldn't be because of all the lakes that we have here, but I go out to some of these vet things and raise your hand if you're in the Army, or if you're in the Corps, Air Force, and then the Navy hands all go up, and it seems to be the majority. A lot of Minnesota guys ended up in the Navy.
We've gotten a lot of texts and messages from people saying, "No, sorry, classified." Like, we're like, "Hey, what's the funniest story?" Like, "No, can't be shared here."
Keep it anonymous.
Yeah, come on. We're not gonna dox you publicly. But Jed did put on the Facebook page, myself and some others got a free ride back to the ship, courtesy of the Shore Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now explain that one to me, please.
Well, Shore Patrol is like that. We would refer to them as MPs in the Army. It's your military police, Yeah, right. And when you get your shore leave, I'm only guessing, not having been in the Navy, but that when you go on shore for your leave, when you run afoul of the law, it's the Shore Patrol that will gather you up and get your ass back to your ship, and then you'll stand tall before whomever on the ship.
Yeah,
Shore Patrol. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, a lot of guys from that generation, the World War II generation, they didn't tell their stories. You had to pry it out of them when they came back. Two great examples of that. Neither one of these combat stories, but my dad served in the Marines. He joined in 1946. As soon as he graduated high school, he was still 17, and he was off down to Parris Island, South Carolina. Remember the movie from the 60s, The Blue Max? Did you ever see that about the World War I fighting ace, starring George Papard?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That movie was on in our house. Anytime it was on, we would watch it. Like, hey, The Blue Max is on. It was like, my mom made sure we always had to watch The Sound of Music, and my dad was like, The Blue Max. And in between, we got a nice, well-rounded bunch of movies we were all obsessed with. And then both parents, of course, loved It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Yes. But The Blue Max was on. I was probably the third time I'm watching it in my life. And my dad just makes the offhanded comment, "Yeah, Papard was he was kind of a chap ass, but he was a good guy." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" He goes, "Yeah, George Papard." I'm like, "Wait, you know that guy?" He goes, "Yeah, we served together. We took the train from Detroit to Parris Island together for boot camp."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And we have there's a photo my brother put on Facebook a few years ago. He found the not the discharge, but the papers. Like, all these Marine recruits meet in Detroit to get a train to South Carolina. And the guy in charge picks somebody like, "Okay, you two run this troop. You're in charge for this 3-day train ride you're on." And it was my dad and George Papard. I'm like, "Well, did you ever think to stay in touch with him?" And my dad looked at me like, "What are you talking about? Men don't stay in touch with each other."
Unless it's your neighbor.
Yeah, it was like, well, you didn't think to mention that? It was interesting. And then my father-in-law, Mike Priola, Rosemary's dad, similar thing. Okay, Pearl Harbor hits. He's down in Alabama. He signs up. He enlists in the Navy. Shortly after, sometime in 1942. He's in basic training. He is days away from heading to the South Pacific, which is, brutal, right? He's like, and they're all fired up for it, but they're also scared to death. And a guy comes along, they're down in like Pensacola, and an officer just pulls a couple hundred men together, and he goes, "Anybody here play ball?" Meaning baseball. That's what ball was in 1942. And my father-in-law raised his hand. He'd been playing like semi-pro, single A ball at the time when he signed up. And next thing you know, he's across the base trying out for a baseball team. And then he's picked to play baseball for the U.S. Navy. And they're going to spend the war, as a recruitment drive, sort of doing PR, barnstorming around the Southeast, playing against local teams. That's what he did. He never went to the South Pacific. He played baseball throughout the whole war. And I had heard that story. The part I hadn't heard, we're sitting around the house one day. We're watching the Cubbies on WGN like you would do in the early 90s. And they're playing the Padres. And I said, "Tony Gwynn, best hitter you ever saw, Mike?" Because Mike's a baseball lifer. he said, yeah, but he got nothing on Ted Williams. I said, yeah, people really love Ted Williams. And this is my father-in-law. He goes, yeah, I remember one time, boy, we were playing, and pitcher thought he'd feeling pretty good about himself, and he brushed Ted off that plate, and boy, Ted gave him this look, and he's telling this story, and I'm like, are you talking about Ted Williams? And he goes, yeah. I go, Ted Williams of the Red Sox. And he goes, yeah. And he's like annoyed at me for interrupting his story. And then he finishes the story. And I go, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? He goes, Navy ball. We were on the same team. And I'm like, you and Ted Williams? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What did you used to like wax Babe Ruth's car too while you were at it? What else do I not know? But it was just so funny. Like he just didn't think to mention at any point in the time we had been together talking baseball for years. Oh yeah, by the way, I played 2 years of Navy ball with Ted Williams.
Yeah,
he was the
just a
greatest
guy
hitter
then.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
funny.
and a lot of those guys in World War II, everyone. It touched literally every American man, woman, and child that entire war, whether it be here in the United States and Minnesota. A lot of our factories here switched over to manufacturing for the war like they did everywhere, but the celebrities that went over and served as well. I remember being out at Flying Cloud Airport and speaking with an oldster who was probably closing in on his 80s at the time. He's a World War II aviation vet, and talking about, and he casually throws out Jimmy Stewart's name was on his crew. And I went, Jimmy Stewart, the actor? He goes, oh, yeah, he was our bomber pilot. And he flew 30 or 40 actual bombing missions, not celebrity missions, flying around doing USO shows and that sort of thing. But actually, went into Germany as a bomb commander. He goes, oh, yeah, Jimmy. I'm like, oh, yeah, just Jimmy, your butt. And he was already a big star at that time when he went over to World War II.
Yeah. Very different time. Mindy on the Facebook page wrote, South Korea, 1990. A dam broke, flooded the base. We're walking waist deep in water on the flight line, collecting all the equipment floating around. Snakes, rats, good times.
Yeah. Thank you, Mindy, for your service.
Yeah, thank you
Good
very
days,
much.
bad days, yeah.
Holy smokes. No time for that, thank you. Here's a good one. It's from Irene on the page. Not quite in the Army, but my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, graduated from basic training. My parents drove me to Missouri to see him graduate. We're walking around the base waiting for him. Suddenly, I hear a piercing whistle, turn and see him walking towards us. I go running, I jump in his arms, give him a very passionate kiss. It turns out it wasn't him. He was a few paces behind the guy that I jumped with his parents, no less. But I did make the day of the guy I kissed.
Well, maybe he's hopefully a good kisser.
She goes, quite a way to meet your future in-laws, huh? That's great.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we all look a little the same, dressed the same, hair's all shaved off, and outstanding. That guy thought, man. That's what you go through basic and AIT for. Just a random woman running up to you and
that's fantastic.
Jumping in the arms and planting one on you.
Yeah, I just think about that. Just reminded me for whatever reason. I dated a girl in college for a few years, and we broke up very amicably. We're still friends to this day. 1990, end of 90, my former band, the Black Crowes, the record was out. We're kind of blowing up, and we're playing a gig in Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm feeling it, yeah, pretty cool, man. We're selling out a club in South Carolina. People were on MTV. You're feeling pretty good. And I'm at this gig, and I'm walking through the crowd before the show, and I hear this, Steve, and I turn around, and it's my former girlfriend from school, Kathy, who, this being 1990, had no idea, no cell phone, no email. There's no way to get in touch with anybody, but she was at the show. And I go, hey, what's going on? And she introduces me to her husband. She just got married that summer, big, tall fella. And I'm like, hey, good to see you. How you doing? I bring them back to the dressing room so we can get out of the club and talk. Very happy to see her, good-looking guy. I'm like, oh, they seem so happy. And we're talking, and I was like, so what do you do, man? And he's like, I'm a Air Force pilot. I'm taking off for Iraq in a week. I was just like, I'm in a little band playing out here.
Going out on tour.
I was like, yeah, okay, so, yeah, I thought I was cool for a minute there, and now I'm just kind of a douchebag with long hair in a band. I mean, he's a great dude, and he's like, but it was just so funny. I'm sitting there looking at her, she's looking at me, and I'm like, wait, you dated me, and then you married this guy? Wow,
right.
Thanks for giving me the time of day on the way. Wow. Okay, war hero or guy in a band drumming. Like, wow. Hey, it takes all kinds, I guess.
Got a pretty good dance card when you think about it.
Yeah, really. It was a pretty
pilot.
good. It was a pretty good move right there. A few other things going on in the world today, and this is an important one. Remember last summer there was Barbieheimer? There was the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer came out the same weekend.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are hoping the same thing will happen this fall because you've got a Wicked movie as well as Gladiator 2 coming out the same day. And people are hoping that odd combination, there could be another huge weekend. Well, the Wicked movie, you know, the story of the good witch and the bad witch and blah, blah, blah. It's a Broadway play for years. The Wicked movie is off and running with a hell of a marketing plan. They've got some toys. Mattel is doing a line of toys from Wicked that hit the shelves over the past week. And a bunch of people on their packaging looked down and they saw a URL, like a website, to go see more information about the Wicked movie. And the website on the packaging says wicked.com. It doesn't say wickedmovie.com.
Uh-oh.
Wicked.com is a, wait for it, porn site.
What?
And
Who would have guessed?
many parents buying Wicked toys looked at the packaging and went to wicked.com to find out new information and were greeted with, that's right, porn at wicked.com.
Porn.
It's not wickedmovie.com. That's a bit of a... it's a bit of a different vibe there. A lot of people online sharing this information. One woman wrote, I was so excited after I bought your toy, and when I went to wicked.com to see more Wicked products, I was met with hardcore pornography. This is unacceptable. I expect reimbursement.
Oh, come on
You don't
now.
get reimbursement for the toy. The toy, it's not like she took the Good Witch out of the packaging and she had, like, you know, extra set of
Fishnet
genitals.
on.
It's not like the doll itself was a mistake.
Was it the bad witch?
It must have been. Mattel says, yes, it was a misprint. We deeply regret the error. They are advising parents to please discard the packaging or just scratch out the link. Okay, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just kind of funny.
Maybe a little something for Dad. I, of course, went...
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, you know. I, of course, went to wicked.com. Don't bother. It's one of those... It's a subscription site like they all are, but this one, 0 samples. No, you got to pay just to take a peek. Who needs it?
My brother, one of my older brothers, Tom, one of his closest friends was a toy designer for Hasbro for years. And they would do, like, the G.I. Joe stuff was under his purview. Mm-hmm. And there was a G.I. Joe vehicle in the 70s, like a Jeep or maybe it was a tank. I'm not exactly sure. But if you, my brother's friend, who was, in fact, his best man at his wedding, he oversaw the actual molds. They would, like, this is the piece that will be the hull of the tank, blah, 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 at the Hasbro company. And so sometimes the guys that were building those molds would just stencil their initials into it on the interior. Like, you'd never see it unless you rip the toy into 100 pieces. And this particular gentleman at one point, he put the word into the middle of a G.I. Joe vehicle, smegma.
Oh my God.
And it somehow got eluded detection from everybody. So I could probably find out the make and model of that toy. And if you find one on Etsy, it's probably worth way more than you think because it's a Smegma-mobile. 651-989-ROCK. Speaking of Jeeps and tanks and cool military vehicles and stuff, we do have a gentleman on the horn on the KQ Talk and Text line. I believe Doug is on the horn. Doug, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zep. Thank you for your service. This is off the coast of Vietnam on an aircraft carrier. I was working with a Airedale on a project, and I said, hey, man, I'm going to go for a ride in F4. And he says, well, you can't because you need ejector seat training. I said, okay. He said, how about a helicopter ride? I said, that's cool. So I went and I got my little camera, and I went up there, and the helicopter was used for plane guard. When the planes took off, in case one crashed, you were right there. So anyway, they get up there on station, they opened the door, and the guy went and sat down. He had a lanyard on him. And he says, come on and sit down. They put a lanyard on me. I came and I sat down next to the guy. We got our legs dangling outside the helicopter going, this is pretty cool. Till the co-pilot came over, and this is hazing because I was a hole snipe. I wasn't an Airedale. He took his foot and he pushed my butt off the edge of the helicopter. I went down to about 2 inches. Every four-letter word I can think of to the air boss, to everybody listening, and then they said, okay, Snipe, you did okay, you passed. So then we went for a night.
Okay, Snipes.
A lot of hazing in the military.
God.
Paying your dues. Probably produced a little smegma.
Oh, yeah. That was, Yeah, it did scare me, but they were real nice after that. They said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, my buddy's on that ship." We went over the top of that ship. I see a guy flipping me the finger. I'm waving at him. It was the old stuff you could get away with.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome anytime.
You got it. Cheers. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say those chopper pilots, when I got in, we were still doing the Hueys, but transitioning to the Blackhawks. But a lot of our chopper pilots, especially through training, were the Vietnam-era pilots. They had served in Vietnam, and that was a special kind of crazy, those boys. They'd take you for a ride.
Do not doubt that for a second. It's getting to be that time of year. Trans-Siberian Orchestra bringing their holiday hits on tour, and you could see them in the city of your choice. Phoenix, Tampa, Nashville, Atlanta. It's up to you. One winner is going to score 2 premium tickets to the TSO concert of their choice, plus, of course, round-trip air, a 3-night hotel stay, plus a $1,000 gift card. Text the national keyword SHOW to 95819 for a chance to win. The top 5 at 9 coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
Good Monday morning. Good Veterans Day morning, one and all. Let's get right to your top 5 at 9. If you find yourself at a Hy-Vee grocery store soon, you will no longer be able to check yourself out. They are getting rid of self-checkout lanes. Dozens of locations in Minnesota for the Iowa-based chain. 300 locations in total. They said, you know what? We want to provide a better customer experience. We're going to bring back the face-to-face interaction with our employees, which probably means they got sick of people just taking stuff left and right from those locations.
Yeah, there was the every other method. I've seen people doing that one, beating inflation by just scanning every other, Of course, as a responsible citizen, I don't say a damn word about it, but I hope they're going to bag your groceries then. So if I got to sit there and watch someone just send it to the end of the line and do it myself, then that's not the kind of face-to-face I want.
I see. That's where I disagree with you. I trust myself more than anybody else to bag the groceries properly, because sometimes, you leave that to the wrong person, and they got your eggs underneath your other stuff, and they combine it all weird. I like to. I was way too good at Tetris to let someone else bag my groceries.
Yeah, you buy eggs. See, it's 4 frozen pizzas and cheese.
Oh, that makes it easy. That makes it easier. Yeah. No, there's no question about that. But so they're saying, yeah, we're done with this. I like the self-checkout lane, but because more often than not, I only have a handful of items. If we go for the whole big, hey, the kids are coming home, let's stock up, let's load up, then yeah, I want to have someone check me out. But if it's 5 or 6 things, the self-checkout's fine. I don't as a general rule take advantage of that and try to steal things. Although I did walk out of a grocery store. Now, in a state I used to live in, you could buy wine at the grocery store, and I walked up and I scanned a bottle of wine and set it down, and then the little sensor went off, which an employee had to come over and look at my ID to then allow me to buy the wine. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And then so when that happened, I had to pull my license out. I put the wine down. I pull out the license. I scan the other 3 items, and it comes up, and it's a total of like $9, but I didn't even really look. I just put my card in there, and only when I pulled the receipt and then walked away, I was like, right with the person standing in front of me, I didn't scan the wine after I had tried to scan it the first time. And I walked out with like a $25 bottle of wine, and I was walking to the car going, just turn back around and go in there and pay for it. And then I didn't. I just got in the car and drove home.
Take a drink first and then go back in.
Right. It all evens out. Or I like the self-checkout if you're buying something embarrassing. It's a slow weekend and you're getting yourself an enema or something. I don't want to go through I don't want to add that to my frozen pizzas and my cheese or some Valtrex.
It's a slow week, so go with the enema.
If your schedule's a little more full, you put that on hold? Is that what's happening?
Well, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
I need to perk things up a tad.
Some cold sore ointment or something.
Vikings have a bye. Looks like it's enema time.
Come in 3-packs.
Number four on your
He knows
top.
too much about that.
No. I read that online.
Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. The Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania had a little festival over the weekend, the Picklesburg Festival.
Oh.
It's just a giant food fair of pickle-based atrocities and or delights, depending on where you stand on this. And a social media influencer, she goes by her account name is Nicole Skirts. This is a woman who's got a whole lot of people following her on TikTok. She spent the day just going down. Pickle pizza, pickle sandwiches, pickle spices. She went pickle crazy. And then her body responded by developing a pickle allergy. All in one day. I think we have a little bit of her talking about this fact.
I just picked up some pickle pizza. That's good. This is a cannoli made out of pickles. I just got a pickled lemonade. Just bought a pickled egg roll. That's good. Of course, I had to grab a giant dill pickle. Wow, the pickle's good. We got a bunch of pickle-themed souvenirs. We got this candy. It is Gumpers Gummy Liquid Filled Poppers. Pickle-themed, obviously, because we're big pickle people.
What?
Pickle people.
She ended up in the emergency room on video, and she looks exactly like Mitch Blood Green after Mike Tyson kicked his ass on the streets of Harlem at 4 a.m. Her eyes are so swollen. Her whole face is just pickled out to no end.
Cut her, Mick. Cut her.
Yeah, no kidding. Apparently you can, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and yes, Virginia, you can have too many pickles.
Who knew?
We all know now. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9, the Grammy nominations were released over the weekend, I believe on Friday. And not only were the Rolling Stones nominated for a Grammy, the Rolling Stones, still active, put out an album last year, played some shows last year. You know who else was nominated? A band from Liverpool called the Beatles.
Man.
The Beatles for Now and Then. The song they released in the fall a year ago, the song that featured, it was taken from a demo John Lennon recorded in the 70s and then added, with the help of some artificial intelligence, they were able to take away the piano, just isolate his vocal, and then Paul and Ringo added parts to it. One thing led to another, and in 2024 or early 23, whenever it was, late 23, early 24, you had a new Beatles song, and now it's being nominated, it's being acknowledged. Best Rock Performance, The Beatles. Who haven't been in a studio together since 1969.
Well, I mean, it's probably beats a lot of what's out there, to be honest with you. I just want to bring up the Beatles, don't you, with the Grammys? It got you say Grammys, I go, whatever. You say Beatles are nominated, Stones are nominated. Yeah. I'm going to take a peek.
Stones are nominated for Best Rock Album, Hackney Diamonds, which is I don't think anybody will say, it's right there next to Exile or Sticky Fingers, but it's a darn good record. Mm-hmm. And certainly, I tell you what, one thing it is for sure, it's a better album than most people were anticipating from the Rolling Stones in 2023.
Yeah.
A handful of real gems, as they say, on that one. You've got Jack White, No Name. That's my inside track. I think Jack White's good. I mean, as much as people would love to see the Stones get a Best Rock Album Grammy, that Jack White record is going to be the one, I do believe. But by the way, if you want to follow the Grammys along, you have to get online before the telecast starts because all the rock awards go out early and not on TV.
It's bogus.
That's where rock music is to the Grammys these days. Not worth primetime viewership. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9, the Minnesota Vikings with a scintillating win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Vikings went into it, and the plan ahead of time was, can we win a game without scoring a touchdown? And they found out they could. 4 field goals. 4 field goals from John Parker Romo, who, by the way, was in camp with the Vikings. Will Reichard won the gig over him. Kevin O'Connell this summer told John Parker Romo, look, you're going to be kicking somewhere in the league this season. You're really, really good. Just keep on, stay with it, stay in shape, keep training. Someone's going to call you. And of course, as it turned out, it was the Vikings themselves. John Parker Romo, responsible for all 12 of the Vikings' points yesterday. Nice debut, kid.
Yeah, not bad. Got a game ball after the game, and then Coach O'Connell pointed to the defense, obviously not the offense. So racked up a lot of yards, but not in the red zone.
Those are the types of games that good teams find a way to win, regardless of what what it looks like all day. And I'm proud of that. But absolutely a lot of things we need to correct and fix.
Red zone execution left a little to be desired.
Yeah.
I remember talking to, wow, what a brain fart. Sam Ekstrom on Thursdays. We talk to Sam about the Vikings every week. And a couple weeks ago, I said, have you seen enough from Sam Darnold to make you think that he's the guy for next year? And I didn't even get no, I have not.
Yeah.
Because he said, no, he's having a good year, but the mistakes he makes. And yesterday, just throwing, I think he had 3 interceptions, but it could have been 5. It should have been 5.
Yeah.
He'll still just make some choices that, anybody watching the game, it's like you can just see. It's like I can't even see the whole field, but I guarantee you there's 3 guys from the other team real close to where he's throwing that ball. You can just feel it as it's happening.
Yeah, Jim Suhano at Star Tribune headline this morning, the Sam Darnold slide is here.
Oh, boy. Good thing we got good thing you got the Tennessee Titans this week. If there's ever a time you want to play the Titans, it's right now. Hey, want to give a morning shout out to Inver Grove Heights. Good morning to our listeners in Inver Grove Heights. Very happy to have you along. And for the record, B52 Burgers and Brews just posted, swing by today and enjoy a burger or an order of wings on us. That is, if you are, of course, a veteran.
Yeah.
Hello.
It is Veterans Day. B52 Burgers and Brews got you covered. No shortage, number 1 on your top 5 at 9 of deals out there for veterans. Happy Veterans Day. Much, much obliged. Our true, very sincere appreciation for everybody who has served. For if it's nuts to think there's only one day a year, but for this day at the very least, we'll make the most of it. And there are deals all around the entire area. Bruegger's Bagels, Buffalo Wild Wings, Chili's, Cracker Barrel. Basically, just look up a restaurant you like. You can probably find that there is a Veterans Day deal. And if there's not, tell them to go screw themselves. Show your veterans card and just walk out with a burger. Tell them I told you it was okay.
All right.
The very least we can do is get you a free damn lunch on Veterans Day.
Yep,
Cheers to all of you who have served.